Hello and welcome back to the 10 Pint Podcast. This episode is sponsored by Misrep Clothing. As you can see, me and Beefham have it on.
Yeah.
So we're here with me, Luke as normal, and Beefham. And we're also here with professional MMA fighter Lee Chadwick. How are we, mate?
Sam, mate. Good to meet you.
And you too. So we normally get started off with, when did you get into fighting and where did the journey begin?
2005. I trained with a few lads. A few of us got together. We just used to do a bit of Valley Tudo on the mat. Learning, teaching each other a few things. That's when I had me amateur fights, which aren't recorded. I had a few amateur fights, but it was a long time ago, so they're not recorded. But after that, when I went pro, it was with Carbon. I went to Carbon for the first six years of my career, I think, yeah. 6 years.
So when was your first fight? Like, it was 2006, am I right in saying? Professional?
Yeah. My first fight was with Cage Warriors, and it was just a last minute call-up, and I fought Carla Musu, who at the time was a French prospect. He was highly ranked, like a world-class fighter at that time, and it was my first one, so I walked in and got beat up in about 2 minutes, I think, because I just didn't expect it. Just took me by surprise, but no one else would fight him in the country, so he said to me, I said, yeah, figure I'll jump in and have a scrap. It was just a fight to me. At the time, it wasn't a career. That I basically started when the amateur wasn't really about. It was like, amateur was like shin guards and head guard and all that stupid stuff. So I jumped in at semi-pro, which was as close to pro as could get. And I didn't like the rules on that. So basically, I went through my career learning as a pro.
Yeah.
So that's why I've had so many pro fights.
So what sort of drove you to first start going to the gym and fighting? Did you have a family with a fighting background, or was it just mates who were into it?
No, I was always getting into trouble for fighting when I was a kid. I got expelled from school before my GCSEs because I was just fighting all the time, because I got put in the school out of where I live. So my mum didn't want me to go to school with all the local scallies, so she sent me to Western Ironside, it was called. It's knocked down now, but I was from Heighton, so I was the only Heighton head in a school, school from Western, Prescott, Rainhill, all them went there. So they were just picking fights with me all the time, and I wouldn't back down. So sometimes I got beat up, sometimes I got the better hand, but I was constantly fighting. And on my first year, it was against the fifth year. One of my fights I got in trouble for. It was a fifth year picked on me.
Is that year 7 fighting year 11? Then?
Yeah. I had to jump. I had to jump up and punch him. I bounced his head off the plastic windows in the school, and the headmaster was standing there looking at me like that, and I got straight in the office. That was in the first few months. So it was just all downhill from there.
How did your family react when you said I'm going to turn pro? Because I can think of an easier way to make a living. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you know what? I didn't tell anyone or ask anyone. I've always done what I wanted to do. Like I said, I had no GCSEs, so as soon as I left school, I was about 15. I worked in my uncle's butcher's, hence the name The Butcher. I remember 15 years old snapping turkeys' necks and pulling the legs off and gutting them and all that over Christmas and stuff like that. And then I come back, that was in London, so it was only for a few months. And then I come back home, worked with my dad and a few of his mates on the building in Manchester, ground working. So I've always been a grafter. After that, I worked in a factory, 12-hour shifts, nights, days, late. And on my dinners, I was just doing chin-ups in the warehouse and skipping. When it was snowing outside, I'd be outside skipping, shadow boxing, jogging around the car park, and everyone just thought I was mental. When I had to lift things like pallets and stuff and stack them, I'd stack them as high as I could and be throwing them, and everything was a challenge. I'd be trying to push forklifts and everything. So yeah, during then I was going to Carbon when I was in the factory. And I was doing a personal trainer course back in the days when you had to do course by course to get a qualification before all these 6-week crash courses come out. So I was doing my PT qualification, working full time and fighting pro. So I was just non-stop grafting. Became a personal trainer while my pro career started out, because back then you only got paid 200 quid for your first pro fight, and then it built up bit by bit by bit. So it took fights. So it took a lot of fights.
You're only getting paid that even at like a promotion like Cage Warriors?
Yeah, I think they paid me 200. Yeah,
That's mad, that.
yeah. But you know, you get more than that now, and it depends on the caliber of fighter you are. If you went to Cage Warriors, but if you're just starting out, brand new first pro, you're getting a few £100.
Yeah.
It's not great, is it? So as a pro, you're still not getting paid like properly. So you still got to work. It's only when you get on big shows, the worldwide shows, when you start taking it seriously. And even then, some people on those shows, on the prelims and that, you only get a $1.5, $2 and stuff like that.
Do you get win bonus?
You get a 50-50, yeah.
Yeah.
Same as UFC. Same as you get a turn-up fee and then you get a win fee. So it's like getting paid half if you lose. So they just kick you in the balls if you die. Yeah.
How old was you for your first pro fight?
20.
20, yeah.
Yeah, I was 20, yeah. Yeah. 36 now, so I've been doing this 16 years.
Bloody hell.
Well, pro 16 years.
Yeah.
I'd done an amateur for a year as well before that, so must have been 19 when I started MMA, yeah.
That's quite late, really, isn't it? Considering you were
It is
people.
now, but not then.
Yeah.
Because at the time, not long before then, you know, when I started, UFC had only been going 10 years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, there wasn't much MMA around before that on the European scene.
Yeah.
So I started when it was starting to build up. The Olympia was my hunting ground for many years. I won 2 titles, British and world title on the Olympia. But at the time, the Olympia was good. It was producing UFC fighters. You know, you had Stefan Struve on there. Terry Etten went from there
Is
to
he the one
UFC.
that's like 6'9"? That's Stefan's. Yeah.
Yeah, we had
bigger than the Cage.
There was loads of stars on in the Olympia, even though it was just like classed as a small venue. But
Yeah.
it did produce some good fighters, and it put good shows on. You know, Melvin Manoff fought in there, and you know, loads of top names fought down there. Mario Sakata fought there. So
Why was it MMA and not boxing? Because obviously in Britain in general, but especially being from Liverpool, there's a big like boxing heritage and history here, isn't there?
yeah. Well, to me, why I started MMA was because I was always getting into scraps and stuff. I wanted something that was realistic on the streets, basically. So I wanted to be able to fight anywhere.
Yeah.
If it goes on the ground, I want to fight. If I'm standing up, I want to fight. So that's where my head was that. Like, I wanted as close to street fighting as I could get. So to me, MMA was that.
So it was just really to like be able to stick up for yourself rather than have a career in it. It start off with then.
Yeah, it was just self-defense.
Yeah.
It was self-defense because because I was not even getting into trouble. I mean, I went through spouts when I was a kid, getting bullied. So it was I only got kicked out when I started fighting back. Do you know what I mean? And it's one of them. You can't, you know, they want you to get beat up and go and tell the teacher, but then you're grass.
Yeah,
so like, then you get beat up more. So I was like, I'm not going to tell the teacher. I'm going to fight back. And sometimes there'd be more of them than me. Well, most of the time. There's not often I got a one-on-one fight. I've been jumped with bats. I've been hit with cars. I've had everything. So I've had everything done to me. So to me, fighting, I was just brought into it.
Yeah.
I had no choice. Moved about a bit when I was a kid. So, you know, never settled somewhere long enough to be in the main crowd. I was always the outsider, so that's why I started fighting.
When did it? Sorry, go on.
Oh, what was it like getting your first win? Do you know, after your first professional fight, which was lost, and getting your first win, was it like boss?
Yeah, do you know what? I can't even remember which person was my first win, but it was it's the best feeling. It's the same feeling now as it is then. It's weird.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same feeling, but back then when I first started, it was a bit more like evidence that I can fight. Do you know what I mean? Like now I know I can fight, but it's a battle of wills and a battle of technical abilities. So now I know what I'm capable of. But back then I didn't. Back then I was just training, learning things, and then hoping it'll come together in the cage. And then you go in the cage and you think, oh, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I do that? Because it's not natural. It's drilling. I mean, apparently you've got to drill one move exactly the same time 118 times for it to become natural in your body. That's what I researched. So that goes to show. So if you want out on each one, it can be, might have to do it 1,000 times to hit that 118 times the same way. Do you know what I mean? So that's how often you've got to be training, drilling daily, night and day. And sometimes when I fight, it's moves from 3 fights ago that are coming out this fight, because to make that become natural, when you're tired and you're gassed and your adrenaline's going and you go into autopilot, it's the natural ability that kicks in.
When did it like become? When did you start to think like? Obviously, you turned pro, but you said it was still sort of semi-pro. But when did it become like, this is my career now? This is what I want to do. Like, I'm good at this.
Do you know what? It wasn't even that long ago. I've had businesses. I've always put a lot of my time into business to pay the bills and stuff like that. So I've been more of a businessman than a fighter for most of my career. It's only when I decided to jump into the Cage Warriors again and go for the world title that I thought, right, I cut a lot of my business out, even though I still wasn't getting paid that much on Cage Warriors. Paid me okay, but it still wasn't great.
Like even for the world title fight?
No, even for the world title fight, you know.
Mad.
So, you know, it's a big stage it gets your credibility up and it's good for your profile, Cage Warriors, but they don't pay you like UFC, Bellator, KSW and all them. So I had the desire to get that belt. I went in and I made it clear what I wanted. And I fought Tommy Cook. I think it's Tommy Cook in the Echo Arena, my first fight. And I finished him in the first round with a standing guillotine after I knocked him down with an overhand right. Then I went down to Bournemouth about 6 months later and fought Andy Manzolo and submitted him with a heel hook because I had a bad ankle. So I just went in, I had to take him down and submit him instead of stand and bang. And then I was back in the Echo Arena then and fought Victor Cheng for the world title. And this was all within like 18 months or 2 years, all 2 years. So after I got the title then, I missed the weight cut. I was supposed to defend my title, missed the weight cut. And then Bellator offered me a contract and it was a good contract.
So you never actually lost the title in the octagon or?
No. There was no one to take it off me. There was no one worth fighting. They were shipping people. In the UK, they were getting people from abroad who haven't even gone through the rankings in Cage Warriors to fight me. They got Jonas Bilstein, who I'd love to smash his head in, to be honest with you, because he gave me loads of jib after I missed weight. But I had loads of personal problems at the time and stuff like that, so I wanted to do it at a later date. But they allowed him to fight for the title. They took the title off me, basically. So after that, I just went to Bellator. Cage Warriors were good enough to let me go. I'm still on good terms with them. And went to Bellator because I got offered, every fight was like 10 fights in Cage Warriors. So
it's mad that, because like as a fan, they don't seem too different. Like, do you know, in terms of like audience and that? I don't know, because obviously on the weekend, like Paddy the Baddy was fighting and like Nathan Fletcher's fighting. So they're Scousers, a bit more biased, but they don't seem too different promotions. They don't, but they are pay-wise, massively. Why do you think that is? Just got more money in the worldwide. It's European, isn't it? Cage Warriors. Oh, is it? Yeah. Bellator's all over the world. So, and they've got, they're on Showtime now. But yeah, they've just got more. It's just about backing. They've just got more backing. People behind them with money. Yeah. One of the investors is 50 cents. Do you know what I mean? So, but they put like Grand Prix on tournaments, and you get paid per fight. But then if you win a world title, you get $1 million. It's like life-changing money. Yeah, what was that like winning a world title in Liverpool as well? It was amazing. That was like the best thing so far, other than getting me Bellator wins. But obviously the Cage Warriors world title, it's legit. Yeah, it's legit, and it was for me. I fought good people to get to it. Sometimes you see people only had a few fights now for the title, so it's a little bit. When I was fighting, they wouldn't put someone in who's only had 6 fights against me. It was always like 10 plus. Yeah. Or being training at least for a decade. So I had like proper tough fights for mine. So I was proud of it. And when I won the title, it went the distance. It was the 5-5s. I started slow in that fight, but it paid off in the end. But I was glad to have the experience of a 5-round battle. Yeah. I'm glad I didn't win it in the first, second, third, or even fourth. I made up, it went the distance. And everything went the way it did because it gave me all that cage time. And I found out a lot about myself within that fight, which prepared me for Bellator. It must be fucking exhausting, that, like 5 rounds. Yeah. I can't even imagine that. Well, I start powerful, then I start gassing a little bit.
but then my body warms up. It takes a long time for me to warm. Even in training, I finish stronger than I start, always, and we'll train for 2 hours. I was doing a load of wall work today, just fighting monsters against the wall, just pinning them and trying to take them down constantly for 2 hours, and I felt great afterwards. One of the guys is 150 kilograms. Yeah. He's,
how much are you weighing?
6'5". At the minute, I'm 107.
Yeah.
So I'm heavy for the light. I'm a small heavyweight at the minute.
Yeah.
But I'm starting dieting today to get my weight down a bit. I'm at my optimal when I'm at 100.
Yeah.
100 kilo, and then I cut weight to fight at 93.5. Well, I cut weight to it anyway.
Yeah. Didn't you win was it at middleweight you won the world title though?
Yeah, it was, yeah. But like I say, I'm surprised people didn't expect me, and I think my opponents expected me to gas after a couple of rounds because I had a really bad weight cut. They had to give me the extra 2 hour allowance. So I didn't actually make weight till 5 p.m. 2 or 3 hour allowance. I had to sprint from the sauna because they come got me and said, if you've got 1 minute to get to the scales or the fight's cancelled.
Yeah.
So I was literally standing over the hot stones in the sauna. Gary, who runs Forge Fitness, he was I was saying, pour water on this. I was burning myself trying to get the last couple of pounds was a killer because the championship weight's half a kilo less, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, and at the time, I was 34 years old, so I was doing middleweight from when I was 20 to 34. So I think I was just in denial, trying to middleweight got harder and harder. So in the fight, I think Victor Cheng thought I'll put the pressure on him and we'll gas and then I'll beat him. And I just got better as the fight went on and warmed up, and it's just will of the fight, isn't it? And fight IQ. I slammed him in the last round, took him down, beat him up. So worked out well for me.
What's the best way to beat someone for you? Is it knocking them out, submitting them, or?
I like submitting them because I spend time learning submission wrestling daily. So that's my main thing. So my last fight, I fought in Milan. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I fought against Brazilian black belt. So in my head, I wanted to submit him. And believe it or not, even though he was the black belt on the ground and I'm not, his team know me. So they were like, hit a move, stay in the middle. And so he didn't want to go on the ground with me because I've sparred with Mike Shipman and a few of the lads and Carlos Famola and stuff like that. So they know me ground capabilities. So I was made up to get him down and submit him in the second round because not only that, I wanted to finish the fight because I fought in Ireland against Carl Moore, former Cage Warriors world champion, light heavyweight. And I pinned him against Cage for most of the fight. About 8 minutes of the fight, he was against Cage, and I was beating him up. I controlled the fight and they give it to him. I was robbed, basically.
Yeah.
I made it verbal, but then I had to wind it in a bit because Bellator gave me a better contract after that. Yeah. They give me a pay increase after that, so that was a little bit... I was fighting him in his own town, and it happens. If it goes to judges, sometimes you gotta knock people out to get a draw. Do you know what I mean?
It's super that though, isn't it? Think about it. It shouldn't be any bias.
It's bad. There's quite a few fights on my losses that where I was robbed, and I fought K1 as well. I'm being robbed. I battered someone around the ring, and he's ran away for the whole fight, and I've been volleying him and banging him, and he just ran away scared. But I fought him in his old town to give it to him.
What do you think?
I even celebrated after the fight, and they still gave it to him. I celebrated before they announced it because it was obvious.
Yeah,
but just one of them. Leave it to the judges.
How do you combat that though? Do you think there's a way to stop the bias? Obviously, you've got the psychology, you've got the crowd. So if a crowd's cheering more for a home fighter, you do think it's like when you watch a Sky show. It's always the Sky fighter wins because the commentary basically. Yeah. It's a great shot, even though it's not really.
Yeah. They just bigged them up. Yeah. But after that fight in Ireland, I went into the crowd. I had fans there, so I went in for the drink, and every Irish guy that come over to me just kept saying I was robbed. They said, we're supporting him, but you won that fight. Everyone's come over to me, all the Irish lads. They were buying me drinks and everything. You're saying, you had that fight. So, I had thousands of messages. I've even got a little file in my phone with all the messages. Because I was putting them all out there, and then I realised that, I'm sort of going against the promotion there, so I had to wind it in a bit. But, like I say, after that, I got a new contract to pay rise, and so that to me felt like, because I should have got a pay rise each win. Yeah. So I felt like I was robbed of that. That's what I was angry with. I wasn't bothered about, the loss, it was more like, you know, me livelihood, me pay increase is gone, me double pay's gone, you know. They made up for it a little bit, but, you know, still lost a lot of money on that fight.
Do you know, you just mentioned before, like, cutting weight last minute. How'd you do that? I've always been curious about that.
Just heat, just hot as you can be in a sauna. It's just sweat and water. It's just temporary weight. It's not fat. It's nothing else. It's just pure water. And the more muscle you've got, the easier it is to cut weight because your muscle's 66% water, isn't it? So you basically just shrink. You shrink your body. You're like the same person, but a smaller version.
Yeah. Did you see the woman on the weekend in the UFC that fainted twice on the scales?
No.
She's like on the scales and she falls back and like faints, and then they made her way in again like 3 hours later, and she fainted again. That's when he obviously had to pull the fight.
Oh God!
Do you think that's a problem in MMA, weight cutting, or do you think there's not really a way around it?
I mean, the fighters have the choice to go up or down in a fight. They can fight overweight for the health. If you're cutting too much weight, you've got a shorter time span on your career. That's a reason why I went up to light heavyweight, because I want to be able to eat and fuel me workouts. I don't want to spend me fight camp worrying about what I've ate, or going to train and eating about 10 beans or a little salad. Do you know? You know, I'm wrestling men. I'm picking 150 kilo guys up, and then I'm going home and eating a chicken salad. It's like my body's just going to look at me and go, "You're messing. You're not fighting you. You're not even giving me the fuel to. You know, we don't run off oxygen."
Is it never just like get down a few days before though, rather than having like that last panic, like the mo? Do you know what I mean? Like we said, the last few minutes you had to sweat loads out.
Yeah, well, I get down to 98 the week before, or 97 the week before, and then I stay at that. My coach doesn't like me to go too light because it becomes a natural weight, so it's good to cut it. I cut 3 kilos, say 3 or 4 kilo now, which is easy. I used to cut 10 in 24 hours, so I cut
still
3
a lot though.
Yeah,
to a normal person, like on the
I
street.
could cut less if I want to, but my coach says no because of my style of fighting. I'm a wrestler, and I use my weights to pin people to the cage, take them down. I throw big hooks for my body weight. So my style of fighting, I need that extra body weight to overpower. But not just to overpower, but it works well with my style. Because when I'm on the ground, I'm a grinder. I'm a pressure passer. Everything's heavy. I put myself heavy on people. So I've got to be my optimal weight. So if I walk around too light, then you only put a few kilo on overnight, you see. So I need to be walking in a cage, what I've been training at. So I get down to me 98 to 100 kilo, and I do me camp at that weight. Yeah. Or at least the last few weeks. And then when I cut weight, I go back up to that, to 100 kilos. So I'm going in a cage exactly the same weight as what I've been training in my camp. Yeah. So it's just a scientific view of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like say, if I was a striker, then fine, get light as possible and be light on the feet and be banging and moving. But I like to get in and grapple and judo. I use a lot of judo as well, so you know I need my body weight for that.
What do you think's like the best fighting? Like, what is the best martial art? Do you think? You see a lot of wrestlers be champions normally, well in the UFC that is.
Yeah, wrestling's hard, a lot harder than BJJ, because BJJ you can just flow grapple and it's more using the mind more than the body and stuff like that.
What do you mean by that, using the mind more than the body? Because
it's technique. It's all technique. And for technique, you need your brain. You need to be thinking ahead. Apart from wrestling, where they do chain wrestling, where they go after takedown, after takedown, after takedown, that's the only time you think ahead. Other than that, it's just positional work and body and, you know, athleticism, ability and stuff like that. But with BJJ, sometimes it's a game of chess. So even no-gi and gi, you want to be a few steps ahead. So sometimes you go for something, but they know you're going to go for it because they're at that level. Yeah. So then you've got to think of what they will counter with and then counter their counter. So it's more of a game of chess.
Your head must be up the wall. Especially if you're tired, thinking about what are they going to do in like 2 minutes' time.
Well, that's it. Well, before I make a move, I think about what they will do as well. So you've got to think about what they're doing and what you're doing, because then how they react to your action is how you're going to react to their action.
Yeah.
It sounds technical, doesn't it?
Do you know what, like, to the build up to like a high pressure fight? How do you like keep your head in like the changing rooms and that? What do you do? Keep yourself calm?
Sometimes I fall asleep to reserve my energy. Nerves make me tired anyway. I just go chilled and tired. My body just sort of relaxes itself. Just, I don't know whether it's just natural from the years of fighting, but like nerves just make me tired, and then I have little power naps, and then I listen to music. As it gets closer to the fight, start listening to motivational speeches and stuff like that. But I try not to do that until near the time, because otherwise you're just wasting nervous energy. I go for a walk on fight day. I like going for a walk in nature, like a nice park or something.
Yeah.
I like nice views. I have music in me ear. Taking deep breaths, preparing my lungs and stuff. It's all about breathing techniques as well, to prepare your lungs for what they're going to go through.
Yeah.
Do you have any superstitions?
Superstitions? Well, yeah. I water trees and everything on fight day. I'll be walking around with my bottle and I'll water trees and I'll be asking for their energy. And I believe in giving to take from the earth and stuff like that. Makes me feel powerful. It does. Makes me feel super strong. I feel great. Gets me switched on. But I go around and I share my water with the trees.
That's mad.
Sounds mental. People think I'm mental from it, but it's just it's if you're asking to receive, like I believe in the laws of attraction and stuff like that. I'm quite spiritual now. Through my missus, she's a spiritual advisor and she does all her angel cards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've always believed in laws of attraction anyway, but she's like increased me spirituality tenfold. So I use a lot of things, and she teaches me techniques and stuff to do, and and affirmations and stuff like that.
Is that what you tell, like, there's an affirmation where you like tell yourself over and over you're going to do something?
Yeah. But you've got to believe it. But it's not as easy as it sounds, because if you don't think about it, visualize it, believe it, and feel how you'll feel, if you've got to go through the motions of actually having achieved that before you can actually achieve it. Do you know what I mean?
Have you seen The Secret or read The Secret?
Yeah, I've read The Secret a few times and watched the film, yeah. I've read the Master Key System, the Magic. At the minute I'm reading a book called what's it called? The Secrets of the Yogi. It's all about breathing techniques and stuff like that. So it's a big part of my game to get me mentally ready and like spiritually ready. Do you know what I mean? You're going into battle. And I believe, well, if you look back years ago at the Vikings and the Saxons and all that, I love all those films and stuff like that, and I like researching a bit of that. How they were spiritual, and the proper Bible bashers, like proper though. So it stems from that as well. They were spiritual. They believed in a higher power, and all the greatest warriors in the world do. A lot of UFC fighters, all the ones that are successful, you'll see them give the glory to God and stuff like that after the fight. And, people hit a spiritual path when you get to a certain level to achieve a greater level. And, it's all down to the laws of attraction and stuff.
Do you do that technique where, like, you make the walk without the music on and, maybe the day before? I've seen Josh Warrington done that at Ellen Road. Obviously, he's a boxer, but he made the walk the day before, like, bounced around on the ropes of the ring, and, like, imagined himself winning the world title. And then the next day he went out and done it. Yeah,
that's good. That's a good technique to use, definitely. That's just all part of visualization, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually doing it and going through it. What I used to do, I used to visualise a lot being in bad positions, but I used to visualise it too much. So that's probably why I had loads of bloody fights. Like, bledded up and cut eye and everything, because I used to put myself in my mind constantly losing, so that when I'm there, it's not new. But I used to do that too much, so now it's a lot more positive thinking and, prepare for the worst but hope for the best sort of thing. The only time I put myself in bad positions sometimes, do you know the assault bike where you use your arms and legs? That horrible one that everyone's using at the minute. My coach gets me on that, and I'm doing bursts and pacing burst on it, and I'll be on it for ages, and he'll just be whispering me in my ear, he's on top of you, he's punching your head in, he's elbowing you, you need to get up, he's pinned you against the wall, you need to turn him, you need to drop down double leg him while you're out of breath, you need to get on top, pass position, and he'd say all these things while I'm on the bike, and I'll have a heart rate monitor up and my heart rate will just skyrocket. I'll hit the 190s every time, 190 odd, I've hit 200 beats a minute.
Yeah.
Training for fights still. I'm my age now, I shouldn't be able to hit those levels, do you know what I mean? So I do push past, I do work hard, I put it all in the gym. and that gives me confidence when I fight. So I always know I've worked harder and I'm more prepared. So no matter, I'm either more skillful or they're more skillful. If they're more skillful, I've worked harder, and I just get that in my head.
How long before, like, do you normally find out your opponent?
It could be any time. I mean, I jump in, I stay ready all the time because I'm at that level now where I need to be ready, and if I get offered the opportunity, I want to take it on a couple of weeks' notice. So I'll stay 80% fit all the time. But other than that, you usually find out a couple of months before, like 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes longer.
Yeah.
Sometimes anything up to 6 to 12 weeks, you usually find out a proper opponent.
Is there a change in your mentality then when you find out like who the other man is across the ring?
Yeah, I've got a cob on all the time. I'm just visualising smashing his head in every day.
Yeah.
I'll just be daydreaming there, and my bird will go to me, my wife, just in case she hears this. My wife will go to me, what are you thinking about? You know what women are like, they want to know everything, don't they? Know what you're thinking all the time. So I'll sit there, I'm just thinking about smashing my opponent's head in. Goes, okay. But that's all I'll think about. I go to sleep, and when I go quiet, what do you think about smashing his head in? I get to bed, what do you think about smashing his head in? I have to try and switch off, and like when I go to bed and stuff like that, or read a book or something to get myself a kip.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm just thinking about fighting.
Just study them, the other opponent. You watch like all the fights they've done on that?
Yeah, only a little bit. As soon as I got matched, look at a few fights, reassure myself, and then after that I don't bother. I don't bother because my coach always says train your game. You're not training for them. You're just training to be a better version of yourself every time you step into the cage, and that's what I do. Just constantly training to be better. So wherever it goes, I can handle the stand up, the ground, or whatever. And I don't try and go in with a counter to their game. I just go in with my game. Yeah. My game is go in, take it to them, get them to the cage if I can, beat them up, or as they come in, double leg them, or if they come in with a jab over and right, knock them out. I don't know. I just got to go in with a lot of counters that I know I'm capable of, and how he acts to me is how I'll react. Yeah. Or I'll put the action on first. It depends on the opponent.
What's the most amount of people you fought in front of?
Probably when the Echo Arena was full on Cage Warriors, but mind you, no, Bellator as well. Bellator in Newcastle and Birmingham was busy. I don't even know the numbers, you know. I don't pay attention to none of that, but you know, full arenas, you know. I don't know how many fit in the arena, about 8,000, something like that.
I think the Echo's about 8.
Yeah. I think I've been in bigger arenas with Bellator, yeah. I think the Newcastle one was bigger. But the Echo Arena was amazing because, you know, I had all the card on my side as well, which was great. Yeah. Because I was a Scouser, so it was good.
Were you more nervous because it was at home?
I was just nervous anyway because it was the world title on the line. I wanted it that bad, so no, I'm just the same. The one thing that I did like is my last fight because it was no crowd, and I didn't realise I would like it because I've always fought in front of crowds, but it was nice because I could focus and concentrate and didn't have shouting. I could listen to my corner.
Was it not harder to get up for it though?
No, not to me, because I'm like, I train how I fight. I go in, I want to win everyone. I want to, you know, in my gym, and the lads I train with, they're all great, so we're all competing against each other daily. So I want to win every fight. Everything's like a fight. Everything's, you know, if we spar pretty hard, and if we wrestle hard, and you know, it's not just nice little submissions. We do face bars and neck cranks and everything to make each other uncomfortable, and that's so we treat each other just how we treat our opponents sometimes. Know what I mean?
Yeah. How often
we don't injure each other. Whenever we want, we can spar. Like when I've got a fight coming up, it'll be 3 or 4 times a week. Not every day, 3 or 4 times a week. But out of season, it's not that much. Like at the minute, probably once a week, just to keep everything tidy. But apart from that, you don't need to be getting bangs on the head daily. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's
do you think about that? Do you think about, like, is it called CTE? Like Joe Rogan goes on about it on his podcast. We're not that intelligent, so we don't know. But you know, like he talks about with fighters. Like I seen one with Max Holloway. He didn't spar for his last camp. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, and he's got a point. Because when I've got a fight, I've got to get cleared every time. Got to have a brain scan. I've got to get cleared by a neurologist.
So that made me realise the last few years, I thought, because I love getting, like, I loved getting hit in the head, in the face, for years, up until about 3 or 4 years ago. Not even, probably even sooner, a couple of years ago, when, like, I thought, you know, one of these knocks could prevent me from passing a neurology test or something. So, and then I started being a bit more careful, and not careful, still scrapping, but using, it made me get better with my head movement and my guard. I work my guard better and my head movement. I like to bob and weave. I like to duck and roll and stuff like that all the time. Whereas ages ago, I used to get punched on purpose just to show them you can't hit me. So I'd be like, I'd butt the hands and everything. My mate actually, about 2 years ago, bust his hand on my head. He hit me and I butted his hand. I was going, come on, bang, butted his hand. And he hurt his hand, so, and he's a good mate of mine, but that's what I used to do. I used to just butt punches and stuff. So I used to eat punch butties all the time.
Punch butties.
Now I try not to do that because, you know, it's scoring in a fight. It's scoring. I used to get it's on not on purpose, but if they threw a punch, you know, some I could slip, but I didn't. Sometimes I'd take one to give one because I think I can hit harder than you, so I'll take yours and bang it harder. And, you know, it was a mentality I always had, I always had a tough guy mentality. But I've changed the last few years. I've got better, I've got more clever, I've got a better fight IQ, and I work to, you know, get hit less and hit more. So it's a better mentality that I've got now. And you only learn that with experience.
Yeah.
You think you're indestructible when you first start. When you're younger and you've had no injuries and stuff like that, you go in and you think, you know, no one can break me.
Yeah. Do you think it was better you having a loss early on, so that's out the way then?
I don't know. I didn't think about it at the time because at the time I was only fighting for fighting's sake. It wasn't about a career. It wasn't about see how far I could go. It was just I wanted to fight. I was, you know, I trained all the time. I had aggression in me, and it was a way of me controlling my temper. Because I'd have horrible thoughts all the time, so I thought I needed to get in the cage and deal with me demons. And, you know, even from having a chip on my shoulder from getting bullied a few times when I was a kid and stuff, I was just angry. So, you know, someone put it on me, I wanted to kill them. So, you know, it sounds unprofessional, but that's how I started my professional career. Yeah. Very unprofessional. It was just about me getting in there and learning to control my anger in a professional environment, and that changed me as a human being. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It made me less aggressive, even though, because I was allowed to be aggressive in a controlled environment. That was my release then. So even when I'd get angry, I'd keep everything in, and you know, I'd wait till I got in the cage and I'd release that fury.
Have you seen like a big difference in the skill level from when you first started? Not from yourself, like just in general, because obviously it's become more mainstream now. It's becoming closer and closer in popularity with boxing. And like, we're only like 20, and all we have known is like the Conor McGregor, haven't we? That's the Conor McGregor era, and that's what we followed. Have you seen a big progression in the sport?
Definitely. Everyone wants to be good at everything. Even strikers are good wrestlers now. Apart from Izzy. Did you see him against Jan?
He's too small, weren't he?
Yeah, not only that, he had no technique. If you know what you're looking at, he went from side control to, like, he thought Jan being in side control was more dangerous than half guard, so he went back to half guard. And in the grappling world it is, because there's submissions from there, but in the MMA world you'd rather be in side control underneath, because you've got more windows to escape, and especially with your tops off and later on in the round you're slippy, so you can get out. But in half guard, their hips on your hip, it pins it to the mat, and they can just elbow and strike and pin you, and you can't get up. Yeah. Half guard's worse, so he just kept putting him back in half guard, thinking, halfway to a good place. But he wasn't, and it just showed his level of groundwork. Do you know
trains
what I
mean? In a kickboxing gym, doesn't he? That's City Kickboxing.
Well, that's it. And his passion is striking, and he's brilliant at it. You know, no one can match him striking pound for pound. So, you know, that's his thing, and he's a purist. Yeah. But in the MMA world, I believe, I mean, he's massive, from where he is brilliant, but, you know, people are going to find him out with the wrestling game after Jan's fight. You know, Yoel Romero should have took him down. Don't know why people like Yoel Romero just stand and bang with him all day. You know, even I'm not that stupid. I'll just be double legging for the full fight.
He moved over. Now you're Romero to Bellator.
Yeah.
He's in your weight division.
Yeah.
You fancy yourself?
I called him out. Trying to get him. I tried to get him. Trying to get Anthony Johnson, Ryan Bader. You know, I've been calling all the top guys out because that's where I want to be. I'm 36. I've been doing this 16 years, so it's you know, I'm at that level. I'm just not a superstar like them because I haven't been profiled that much. It's not a difference in skill. They're not. I mean, Yoel Romero's probably a better is a better Olympic wrestler because he is.
Yeah.
But I'll be a better grappler, and I reckon I'll have better boxing. It's not these guys. I don't believe now where I'm at. They might have a few years ago, but right now where I'm at and what I know I'm capable of, I just don't think they're any better than me. I just think they're up there on social media.
It's misleading, isn't it? Social media.
It is, because they be in the UFC and they get your profiles up better than Bellator because they're better with the social media and the marketing and stuff. You just get marketed brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, you can become a superstar overnight.
Have you ever had any like calls from the UFC?
I got offered a UFC fight a while back before the Bellator, but I was middleweight and he offered me a light heavyweight.
Yeah.
And I turned it down. So I should have. I'm not even saying I should have, because I probably get paid more in Bellator than I would in UFC, unless you're right at the top. So I'm happy where I am now.
Must have been mad for you to see, you know, from when you first start, no 6 where social media isn't really that big then.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
now like needing a social media profile
I
and
know,
stuff
I know.
like that. Must be scatty that.
I was saying to my coach today, I watched Mariusz Pudzianowski, do you know, the world's strongest man? Well, he was like 10 times world's strongest man. Fighting KSW, he's ripped to death. He's 40 odd years old. He's an absolute beast, but he can't fight.
The judo teacher that stepped in. I was listening to that Fight Disciples, you know, Nick Pete.
Yeah.
I was listening to that this morning, and he was saying in that KSW, someone got beat by the world's strongest man, but the fella that was supposed to be fighting him pulled out. So this judo teacher stepped in. You've never had a fight before.
I don't know. I was judo teacher, because you should have seen the takedown he attempted on Marius. I thought, what's he doing? He just flopped to the floor with his hand behind his back and got up again. And I thought, that's not even a takedown, mate. He was bad. He was bad. He was massive, like, he's a big fat guy, but Marius was ripped to death. But none of them could fight. They were just big brutes. I mean, you don't need to fight when you're that big, I think. But he's probably getting paid $125,000 for that fight, for fighting someone who stepped in and just never had a fight before. He was 0-0.
Yeah.
He's probably got paid $250,000 for that. I've been made up.
Everyone's jumping on the fighting now.
I know.
Do you find that frustrating as a professional?
It does when a movie, like
the Pauls and that.
Yeah,
KSI.
it's like real fighters. They're not real fighters, but they're getting paid loads because of the
He sold out
profile.
in Vegas, didn't he? And he sold out like Manchester Arena then.
Yeah,
Twice.
Them 2 fellas off Geordie showed done one, didn't they? In Newcastle.
Garland.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
It's crazy. I said to my coach today, I was in training, and I went, I'd get paid better if I went on TV and then went to the cage and couldn't fight than what I'm capable of going into the cage. You're not getting paid for your fighting skills. You're getting paid for your showmanship, really, and like your profile. The bigger the profile, the more you're getting paid. It's not like, oh, he's got this and this, or he's done this, or he's this good at all of this, so we'll pay him more. It's like, what can he bring to us, social media wise? It's a bit of a slap in the face, but it's the way the world is.
It's not fair, though, is it? When, like, for example, you've put like 15 years of your life towards it.
Yeah, 42 pro fights, and you know, Jake Paul, or whatever his name is, I'd probably bitch slap him once. I reckon he'd be out. So
he's fighting Ben Askren, isn't he?
Yeah.
Who do you think will win that?
Well, the boxing, and Ben Askren can't box. It's like
punches like a kangaroo, don't he?
He can't punch it. He can't even punch. Do you know what I mean? It's like
he'd probably beat us. Like I'm not
he
saying.
He might beat Ben Askren, but put him in an MMA ring, he's not going to have a chance unless he does a flying knee like George Masvidal. KOs him.
What's like? Have you ever been knocked out?
No, not even insane. And no, I've seen a flash. That's about it.
Yeah,
I've never gone jelly legged or anything like that. I've been knocked down once, but only because I walked right into a backhand and my feet went from under me. It was it was in the Olympia, and I didn't have a team at the time, and I fought Zel Galasic, and you might not have heard of him, but at the time he was a superstar. And I just, Zorba, who owns the Olympia, used to phone me up. I'd just go, yeah. Even I boxed in there as well, but I had a chest infection. And just the goal was to just take him out in 2 rounds. And on paper, his name's Lee Charles. And he's got about 12 black belts. So look, he went, nah, you'll smash him. I went, oh, go on then, I'll do it. I'm not well though, and he'll go, nah, it'll be easy. So I went to Light Town, whatever, and I checked his name and he's online. You can actually research his credentials now, and it's like black belt, and I was like, fucking stitch me up here. But I've said yeah now, so I'll have to go in. But I beat him boxing, just through toughness. He burnt out, punching me head in, I think. And then I finished him.
Going back to your last fight, obviously that was like during COVID. What was that like? Do you know, like the build up to the fight? Were you in like a bubble type thing? Yeah.
Yeah. When you get there, 24 to 36 hours after waiting for the test results, because they didn't have the fast tests then. It was in October 1st. So I was just in a hotel, but the hotel was nice. So, and then they brought room service to your room 3 times a day. I had some stuff to train in the room and stuff like that, so it was good. I had books to read. I had Netflix.
Yeah,
it was just, you know, I'd done all my hard training by then, so it made me relax. It was good. And then once you got the negative result, it was a lad around the hotel. It was boss. The hotel was amazing. The training room was good. It was a really good experience. The best experience fighting I've ever had in all the years in Milan. It was amazing. It was boss.
Do you reckon your next fight will be during COVID times or further along the line?
Well, at the minute, I'm open for America. I've got a visa. Not many people have over here because they're all criminals. So I'm lucky that I've got one, know what I mean? So Bellator, they're working on trying to get me in America. They've got free shows each month, April, May, June. So I'm pretty sure they're going to sort me out and get me out there. Me manager's been on the case. So I do believe... Visualization.
Yeah.
I'm going to America. So hopefully I'll be getting to America in the summer.
I think the problem with Bellator was over here was it'd be on Channel 5 and then it'll be on like something else. There was never just like, with the UFC, you know, it's on BT Sports. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now
yeah.
I think you've signed a deal with BBC, haven't they?
No,
Bellator.
Showtime it's called. I don't know if that's BBC or whatever.
I think it's BBC in this country, but over in the States. Like,
oh, is that what it is? Because I couldn't find Showtime on my telly. I was thinking.
So not every card's going to be on.
This channel doesn't exist. It's all a blag. So it must be BBC. Yeah. So that's good, isn't it? Yeah. So it's going to send Bellator a bit more mainstream.
Yeah.
You know, because UFC do lead the role in the business. They are the top. But that's why people think everyone in UFC gets paid a lot more, but they don't. So, you know, Bellator, they're a good company and they look after you.
Yeah.
And if they like you, you know, you've got a good career with them. I'm on my second or third contract because they renewed them each time before it was over. Whereas usually you have to, like, say you want another contract and ask for a pay rise. They were just doing it automatically with me. So they have been good, and a lot of Bellator fighters that I spoke to are happy and being looked after. So I wouldn't... I wouldn't change to go to UFC if I had a choice now at the minute. I'm happy.
What advice would you give to like a young up and coming fighter?
In the amateurs, I would say don't worry about your record in the amateurs because it goes to zero again. That's you know, I mean, it's good seeing an amateur record and thinking, oh, yeah, they're unbeaten amateur. They've had a few pro fights and unbeaten, so it makes them... People add it up, but, you know, it doesn't really matter, especially when you go to UFC or Bellator or anything like that, because it only shows your pro career. Use the amateurs to learn, fight and learn on the game in the amateurs, have as many as you can, you know what I mean, and then convert over. Also, try and stick to a weight, especially in amateur. If you're going to cut weight, you might as well make it worth it, you're getting paid for it. Not in the amateurs, killing yourself to get to featherweight or bantamweight or atomweight, I think they've got.
Yeah.
It's like, that's my arm.
Like 8 stone in it or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, and they kill themselves for the amateurs, and I've seen kids do it, and I think you don't need to do that. Maybe fight a weight above in the amateurs and then cut weight when you get to pro, just to, you know, if you want to do that. But I wouldn't be, you know, you want to be walking around. When I grapple, I just fight I grapple at the weight I am. Heavyweight, I always grapple heavyweights because I think, you know, I'm not cutting weight for something I'm not getting paid for. I'm doing this for experience, and I'm not bothered if, you know, I'm bothered if I get beat because of me ego. I like to win.
Yeah.
But I used that to learn. I used the grappling competitions to make me better on the ground for the cage. So, you know, I just fight over 100 kilo all the time. And it's better because it makes it harder for me, because I might have someone who's 120. And I think, you know, I'm wrestling a guy a lot heavier than me, 2-3 stone heavier than me. So I like that. It makes it harder for me. It's, you know, there's no point kidding myself and killing myself to get to a weight. And, you know, it takes years off, it takes time off your fight career as well, that cutting weight, because you're doing your organs in.
Yeah.
You're doing your organs in. And I learnt it late. I wish I learnt it earlier. I should have went up to light heavyweight a long time ago, but I didn't believe in myself enough to go up to the bigger guys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Did you ever go to heavyweight?
Probably when I move, you know, when I hit about 40, I'll probably step up to heavyweight and just make life a lot easier and getting paid prop. You know, I'll be happy with heavyweight then, because they're just lazy light heavyweights, really. Bigger, lazier light heavyweights. Light heavyweights can still be quite athletic, but heavyweights, you know, you can get some slobs in that. So
I look at some and you just think, how are you a professional athlete? How are you training every day and you're that fat? It's just mad, isn't it?
It's just, I mean, it can be a little bit the body type, but they just, you know, the heavyweights and just eat loads. Look at Roy Nelson.
Yeah.
But he can bang, can't he? And he can wrestle, and, you know, the weight comes handy for him. People can't get him down. And, you know, he can take people down and he can knock people out with the weight of his arm.
John Jones is going up, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Don't...
Yeah, I think, you know, he's a big guy anyway.
He's in the frame of a heavyweight anyway, isn't he?
I mean, he's a lot bigger than me, and I'd go to heavyweight, so I don't see why not. Just people put this spectacle on, moving up a weight, that they're not going to be strong enough to deal with it or anything like that, but he's got a really good fight IQ, and there's mind over matter with John Jones. Half the time he's beat them before he's got in.
Yeah.
Like Conor McGregor used to be, because he was that confident. They just fold. Joe Aldo was like a good show of that when he fought Aldo, and I thought
he was unbeaten for 10 years, weren't he, Aldo?
Exactly.
And McGregor was like following him around Brazil and that, like chasing him down the street, just
winding him up.
Stuff.
But that's when he was at his best. At the minute, the only reason we're seeing Conor McGregor the way he is because he's got everything he wants in life. So that hunger's not there. That extra passion isn't there. He just loves fighting. Loves fighting and always will do. He's Irish. They love a scrap. Do you know what I mean?
In his last press conference, he was calm, but it was like
I used to watch like
he's your mate. Press conference.
Yeah, because he used to have murder of night dares and all that, didn't he? Throwing bottles at each other and trying to jump over Dana to get to him and grabbing the belts and going, it's mine. It was all good. That's the show people want.
Do you ever do anything like that in press conferences?
I'm complete opposite, and that's probably, you know, why I'm never going to be like Conor McGregor or anything like that, because I'm not a showman. I fight. I'm a fighter. I'm a true warrior. I get in and I fight and I do my job, and I do it to support my family, and I do it to test my skills, and I'm old school. But you know, I believe I'll get to a certain level, get into Bellator title and that I'll be aiming for. I will get up there, but it won't be through my mouth. It'll be through just skill only, and that's going to be my legacy. That's what I want. You've got to stay true to yourself. I have tried to have a little bit of banter and stuff in the past, and it doesn't feel natural to me, because I don't argue. I hate arguing. Don't even argue with my missus. I just walk out and go to Starbucks. I just let her win, go to Starbucks, have a coffee, read a book, chill. Wait for the message, say you coming home or what. So yeah, I'm not an arguer and never have been. I'm not the best arguer. I just, you know, I've always been, you know, if someone had a problem with me in the past, like when I was younger and stuff, and started giving me shit, I'll go, well, let's have a straightener then. You know, you got a problem with me, let's have it. Or do one. Do you know what I mean? Don't come at me like a girl with your handbag. You know, you've got a problem with me, we're going to fight and we'll sort it, and I'll shake hands and walk away, or we'll have another one if you want. But that's how I am. It's just, you know, leave me alone. If you've got a problem with me, then you come and say it to me face. If you haven't got the balls to do that, then say nothing.
Is there anyone in the city that you've like, any like potential fighters that you think they're going to be massive or they're going to be brilliant?
Do you know what? Everyone, you know, the Scouse mentality are good, tough individuals. And seen a couple on, seen one on Cage Warriors. I forgot his name. What's his name? Paddy's teammate.
Nathan Fletcher.
He done boss. Yeah, I was
climbs on people's backs, doesn't he?
Yeah, I was impressed with him on Cage Warriors the other night. So yeah, he's definitely an up-and-coming one, but I'm sure there's quite a few up-and-coming superstars that people just don't know yet. And they know who they are. They're in the gym working every day and morning and night. So I reckon there'll be plenty more to come, and there's been plenty in the past. You know, when I was in the Carbon days, it was the main gym, and that's when everyone, they're like Paul Rimmer and Jason Tan and Colin were all in one gym. That's when I started with them.
Yeah.
That was years ago. And it's just expanded. It's expanded massively. So there's always going to be stars from Liverpool, definitely, because they put the work in.
Yeah.
What do you say the hardest part of being an MMA fighter is?
Diet.
Yeah.
I love training, I love fighting, I love wrestling. You know, I like the work ethic, I enjoy that. But I like my food as well. So having to turn away from the stuff I like when I'm in fight camp, that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Other than that, everything else comes natural to me.
So do you know after like you win a fight and that, do you like let yourself go for a few weeks? Yeah.
Eat what I want, yeah. eat when I don't want to eat. I can't walk past the shop without popping in going, I love that. I love that.
What's your like your go-to scran then after you've like done a fight?
Do you know what I love? I love pizza. Just love Domino's and you know, but I'll eat anything. KFC's lovely. Mackey's. It's just all audible meat, isn't it? It's not even good for you. But I do sin me body with the wrong foods. I like kebabs and everything. Chippies, sausage dinners. I love all of that. But like I make a point to each week after the fight. Like I have to have one of everything.
Yeah.
So one day, not every day, but you know, within so many weeks, I'll be like, well, I had that last time, so I'll have a Chinese. The next time it'll be a Mackey's. The next time it'll be KFC. Next time it'll be Indian. I'll have one of everything, and then it'll get to the point where I'm just sick of everything and think, I need to get back on my diet, even if I haven't got a fight.
Yeah, you're still train after you've like retired and that.
Yeah, I'll fight until I can't fight anymore. I mean, I'd go in a wheelchair and be in Paralympics in the cage if that was a thing in 10 years' time. Do you know what I mean? I'll fight as long as the fight's there. And I believe the fight will be there until, you know, it comes to a point where I'm not fighting well. As long as, like, I've got a thing, my coach has said to me, as long as you're winning more than you're losing, you're doing all right. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So as long as... And plus, if I'm still getting paid, you know, if it gets to the point where I've been Bellator champion and all that, I'm up there, I've got a lot more followers, and I'm getting like 200-300 grand a fight. It's like, I'm going to keep fighting, and aren't I? He offered me, I'm going to fight until, you know, if I'm getting paid, as long as I'm not making a show of myself, do you know what I mean? Going in, getting knocked out and stuff. Yeah. That's when it's time to call a day. But as long as I can fight and I'm getting paid properly, then, you know, I'll fight as long as possible because... It's a passion. It's what I live for. It's what I'm here for, and it's what I love to do. So, you know, I'm not going to start gardening or nothing like that. I'm retiring, grow mushrooms in the garden or, you know, flowers and stuff like that. That's not me. I want to just fight as long as I can.
Could you ever see yourself going into coaching?
Yeah, I can see that in the future. I don't do it I help people out now. I like helping like my teammates out that are less experienced than me and teaching them things and stuff like that now, even while I'm fighting. But until like I retire, I wouldn't take that on properly because it wouldn't be fair to the students because I'd be having to leave them all the time to go away to fight, and you know, in fight camps I might not be able to make the class. It just wouldn't. I've got to put everything into one basket into the fighting at the minute. But definitely, I'll continue my passion. I'd love to share what I've learned over the years with people, the next generation. Do you know what I mean? Might even get my own gym again. I've had a few gyms. I might get another one again. I don't know. Might invest in that, and that'll transform from me getting out of the cage into, you know, getting other people into the cage and live my passion through them. Then so it's definitely a possibility. Yeah.
Have you got your own kids?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know? Say if one of your children turned around and said like, "I want to be like you." Yeah. What would your reaction be to that?
I'll do whatever I can to help them be the best, yeah.
There's a lot of people say, like, you don't want to go into it and all that, don't you? Like, do you want the opposite for the kids? You don't want them to fight and stuff?
I'm just open-minded, so I will wait to see what he wants to do, and he's never mentioned that. My son's only 5, and my daughter's not going to do it. She doesn't like fighting at all. She'll have a little go on the pads and that, but my son just loves whacking the pads and stuff like that, so you never know, but... I wouldn't push it on him or suggest or even push him to classes. It's like if he wants to go, he comes with me a lot, sees me fighting, and he's funny. He's only 5, and you go, hey, Dad, you beat that lad up, didn't you? Once. We're just grappling, And it must look like he was getting the better of him. Just when you're grappling, you can be underneath. I might be underneath, but winning. Do you know what I mean? And he said to me, hey, that lad was stronger than you, wasn't he? I was like, what? No one's stronger than your dad. Don't say that again. You're grounded. Yeah, I wouldn't push it on him, but you know, if he wants to do it in the future, I'd have all the contacts to put him in the right places and make sure he got the right training, and you know, I'd see if he was capable of anything.
Yeah.
But I just believe in letting your kids do whatever they want to do. Let them take their own path. It's not about you or what you want. It's about what they want in life. That's going to make them happy.
Yeah. So, have you got any more questions before we finish up?
Yeah, you just mentioned before, like, you scrum punch butties, but this might be a stupid question, right? What's the most pain you've, like, felt in the ring or training?
Do you know what? When I first dislocated my knee, that was painful. But, yeah, that was probably the worst pain. And I tore my other knee as well. So, knee problems, yeah, when I tore my knees, they were the worst pain. Now I can... Once when I first dislocated one of my knees, it was out of place for 3 weeks and I didn't know. And I just thought I'd hit my knee. So I'm walking around like I don't know what to say, walking around like a monk basically. And I was going, I'm positive thinking, I'll be all right, but it wouldn't straighten. I was just walking and like my bird was walking behind me one time. She went, that's not right, you know. Your foot's facing the other way. And I went, oh, it's all right. It's just swollen, so it won't straighten because it's swollen, so I'm walking wonky. And then, and then I was in bed and I got knelt up on the bed to get out of bed because I had to get out of bed weird because of my knee. And as I knelt up, I just felt it click. The pressure was on my knee. Knee clicked and I went, lied back. I went, my knee. And then I moved in. I was like, oh, it's better. 3 weeks I was in agony. I had a crutch and everything, and then it just clicked in when I knelt on the bed. Must have been the universe must have been fucking on. Doesn't know what's going on with it. I need to put it back in for him. And ever since, like if I've ever injured myself or dislocated my knee or something, I just click it back in myself. So it's all right now. Experience.
Yeah. So thanks very much for that, mate.
No worries. No, it's been a pleasure.
We forgot the last question, lads. We always finish on what's your favourite pint?
What's my favourite pint?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I like all lager. I love all lager, you know. I love a pint of lager. I love a pint of Guinness. Paddy's Day the other day, I had a few Guinness with my mates because he's Irish. Yeah. But I just, you know, do you know, San Miguel and stuff is lovely, but I just read about the chemicals, so that gets in my head. So, you know, German beers are the best beers to drink.
Yeah.
So, like Heineken and stuff like that, I love that because it's got less chemicals.
Yeah.
But they're all bad for you, aren't they? They all give you the goods. I love a pint like in the summer in the beer garden. Let's hope we have them back this year.
Hopefully.
I hope so.
Hopefully I've had a fight in America in May or something, so I can have June, July and August in a beer garden. Just turn into Roy Nelson.
Yeah, so that was Lee Chadwick. We hope you all enjoyed it, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Thank
Nice
you.
one for that.
Nice one for that.